You're muted.
Can't hear you.
Oh.
This Knoxville Minute is bought to visit Knoxville.com, but
having been doing this for so long, Frank, I'm sure Frank. See, I did it again. That's how you go. That's how you're known in all the circles. Right, Frank?
And do what?
Right, Frank?
Yeah, right, Frank?
I'll answer to anything, so.
What were you going to say, Johnny? I did it now.
Johnny.
I'm missing Johnny.
Can anybody get my name right tonight?
Well, we got lucky tonight. We got a Rural Squirrel on here, so.
No, this was fun.
Go on.
And?
Yeah. Well,
best guest ever.
Yeah. That's what you say to all your guests. I know
blushing
better.
Now. The face is matching that.
It's not. It's a hot flash.
It's a hot flash. Say, did I mention I had 4 kids?
Yeah, right. You guys.
Well, welcome back, everyone, to the Finders Flippers Resell Podcast, episode number 34. Stuart, how you doing this evening?
And I'm doing great. And as everybody can notice, we have no Johnny tonight. We had to get rid of him. He, no, just kidding. He had a play to go to tonight, I think. So we'll miss him, but looking forward to our guest we have tonight.
Yeah, we're going to have Kristin, a Rural Squirrel. What an interesting name that is. We'll have to ask her what exactly a rural squirrel is. Maybe she'll explain that to us.
Yeah, I hope so.
Now, I did have her on my Slim Flippers channel a while back. It's been over a year ago. And so I want to dive back into that with her tonight. But yeah, I'm looking forward to talking with Kristin.
Yep, me as well. I have met Kristin before, but we haven't talked a whole lot. So yeah, looking forward to getting to know Kristin better and learning about her journey in the reselling world.
Now, where did you exactly meet her at, Stuart?
It was either at Boss Reseller Remix or Camp List Perfectly. And I mean, those things run together. I can't remember exactly which one it was now at this point, but.
Well, I'm not sure if it was the last Boss Reseller Remix. I think she was a guest speaker there. I think she was one of the speakers that they had at the Reseller Remix. We'll have to ask her, jump into that here in a minute. But yeah, I believe she was there when she was on the Let's Do Lunch podcast with Angie Resells, I believe.
Yeah, and I missed the last Boss Resell Remix because I did go to Camp List Perfectly, and so we'll see if she remembers me as well. So.
Now, are you going to be able to get out to this year's Reseller Remix?
I think we talked about that a little in the last episode, and I haven't really decided yet. I'd love to go, but I just don't know if it's going to be in the cards. And we're still got, we made it through the first wedding, but we still have another daughter. He's not engaged yet, but probably, maybe getting engaged sometime in the relatively near future. So need to start saving for another wedding. And so those things can be pretty expensive.
All right, let's bring her in. Here we go.
Hey,
well,
Kristin.
Hello, Miss Kristin.
Sorry, I was trying to be prompt and ready and down here, and I was going to get a few things done, and then I'm like, wait, what? You're waiting on me?
Hey, no worries.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay.
This one's on me. I'll accept it.
Usually it's me. Ask Angie. Angie Resells. We did a little podcast together, and I messed up the times all the time. So, yeah, it happens, right?
It's on me, but you're early for us, so we appreciate you coming into the Finders Flippers Resell Podcast. How are you doing, Miss Kristin? Good to see you again.
I'm super good. So, thank you for having me. I'm excited. You guys have been doing some great little chit chat that's happening. I love having you on while I'm trying to get some work done. So.
Well, we appreciate you tuning in to us, and see now you're in with us. So.
Yeah,
we are without Johnny tonight, though. So.
Yeah, Frizzies. Yeah, super cool people. I love their Instagram account. Love it.
Yeah,
Johnny
went lively on us tonight. He's on a play or something. So he really hated to miss it because he had been looking forward to this episode specifically. So
no, it's okay. We've all got lives outside of reselling. Don't tell anybody, but we do.
We do. I haven't gotten that message yet.
So Kristin, right off the bat,
Pardon?
Right off the bat, I see you're wearing your red Sally Jesse Raphael glasses. I like it.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, Sally. That's right. Yeah, this is my second pair. My first pair actually broke not long after Boss Reseller Remix last year. So I was without them for quite a while. So I had to go get some new ones.
Yeah, those are your trade. Remember, I don't know if you remember, we talked about on my other podcast, the Slim Flippers. We talked about that has to be your trademark. Because when you come on there, you didn't have them on. I was like, where are your red glasses?
Yeah. You know what's funny? I don't wear them unless I'm like at the computer because I can see a little bit better with them on the computer. And I usually always have my hair up in a big top knot too. We went to go visit the grandbabies and I had my hair down to go out that night, and my hair had been up the whole time. They're used to sit. So the 2-year-old, she says, "Oh no, Gigi, hair up, hair up." She didn't want me to pick her up unless my hair was up. So between the glasses and the top knot, I think that's what people expect.
That's awesome. So you were at the Boss Reseller Remix because Stuart and I earlier we were talking about it, and I told him I thought I think Angie were both speakers there, weren't you?
Yeah, we were speakers last year. It was the most phenomenal thing, and to stand there in front of those people and just you're just like buzzing because all those people are just it's pretty incredible. It would be so much easier if everybody would just huddle up like in a volleyball huddle, and then we could talk about all those things. It would be more comfortable for me, but we had a really great experience with it. So
did you have that feeling like you were up there and you were being judged? Like, she don't even know what she's talking about. I would never do that.
Oh, for sure. We felt like that. Yeah. But between Angie and I, between the two of us, we had more than 50 years experience on eBay. And before that, I owned a brick and mortar store that was like an antique mall. And before that, I had been selling stuff, just booths and stuff like that before internet, before eBay, I was still selling stuff. So I felt like I understood my craft. It was just conveying that information to other people that just seems kind of daunting.
Right.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I missed last year's Boss Reseller Remix. So I was on stage the year before last, and you're right. It is kind of, I was part of a panel, but it was still, it's being in front of that many people.
Well, I was there watching. I saw that. So that first year, I was just so. I told Angie, because she had never been before. She says, "Is this? You can't teach us anything. We're old dogs. You can't. There's no new tricks for us to learn." First of all, we learned so much. But secondly, I told her when we go, it's like reseller church. You walk away thinking, yes, this is great. I love what I do. So I feel like a lot of people walk away from events like that and they just feel better about their job or, tackling those things that we avoid sometimes because we're self-employed. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the motivation you walk away from is just, it's hard to describe to somebody who hasn't been there. And people ask me, in fact, we talked about it on our last episode, I think, it's hard to quantify like what you get, like from a pure, just like, here's, I went, so I'm making this much more money, but from the stuff you learn to the relationships you build, because like you said, you kind of find your tribe and you realize that there's so many more people just like you out there. And before YouTube and seeing other people that do what we do, in 97 when I was on eBay getting started, and I felt like I was on an island all by myself, and that nobody I knew was on eBay except to maybe buy some things. So it did feel like I was all by myself, reinventing the wheel every single time. And nobody to ask questions, how do you ship this? What do you do when a buyer says this? We didn't have anything like that. So we just figured it out on our own. So I just assumed everybody else does. Yeah, or stumbled through it maybe. Now, you were at Camp List Perfectly too, weren't you?
No.
Okay.
No,
for some reason I thought you were, but I guess it was Boss Resell Remix where I met you then. So
yeah, I think
I know I've met you in person before. I mean, that was a long time ago now.
yeah.
So.
No, we were at.
She has no idea who you are, Kristin. Or Stuart. She has no idea.
No, I know. Hey, it's Frank Hill.
Frank Hill.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's the joke. I know on Dominic's Primetime Treasure Hunters channel. I mean, it was a big joke for a long time because he always called me Franklin because
Franklin.
I mean that's kind of my online name because that's how everybody knew me. And
Yeah.
so he'll always call like the little Sesame Street Franklin character whenever I'm on.
Well, when you got up on stage and they introduced you, and everybody was like, his name is Stewart. I mean, several people at the table at the place where I was sitting, everybody was like, "Wait, what?" His name is not Frank Hill, Franklin, but everybody shortened it. Everybody I knew was calling him just Frank.
That. You know, I have many names. I mean, I'm one of those with Stewart's my middle name, so I'm Harvey Stewart White III, and so Harvey's like my doctor name. You know, that's the only place I ever get Harvey's at the doctor, or actually doctors and auctions. Because when I used to go to in-person auctions, you'd always have to give your driver's license to register. So it'd always be like Harvey. So when I'd go check out, they'd go, "Oh, you got some good stuff, Harvey." And so I guess doctor and auctions is where I'm Harvey. Most everywhere else I'm Stewart, and then online I'm Franklin. So
do you still get to go to in-person auctions?
No. So yeah, I mean, when COVID hit, it was funny. Like we used to go to 3 auctions every week. We would go Thursday, Friday, Saturday night to 3 different auction houses in Knoxville. And 2 of them had already closed prior to COVID even hitting. Both kind of weird. Like the 2 owners of those places died within a couple of weeks of each other. So they shut down. But then the one that we were still going to was kind of the main one we went to anyway. I can remember when COVID first hit, you know, he said, you know, the state's going to make us shut down, but we'll be back in a couple of weeks, you know, so everybody, you know, have fun. And fortunately for them, they had already like dipped their toes into the online world with some jewelry auctions. They hadn't really done any of the estate auctions online. But then I remember, like, I called down there, so when are y'all going to have an auction? He goes, well, and by this time they had started putting some auctions online. He goes, well, you know, now we're thinking maybe we'll do 1 in-person auction a month and everything else will be online. You know, okay, that's cool. You know, next time I called, well, you know, I don't think we're ever going to do an in-person auction again. Yeah. And I mean, I get it. You know, there's less overhead. Instead of, you know, because they didn't even do hybrid ones. It was all just people in the room. So, you know, instead of having 100 people bidding, you've got the world.
Right.
And so, I mean, I get it, but it's definitely made, and I don't know if you've experienced this. I'm sure you have. It's made finding value in auctions a lot harder. I mean, there's still value to be found, but it's definitely harder to do. So
it's definitely harder to do. You have to spend a lot more time sifting through things. Sorry, I don't mean to be dominating the conversation, but
it's all about you. You're on our show. You go right ahead.
Thanks. So my dad was also into eBay and everything. So his he would take things down to this place that still, even today, will still do live auctions. It's the only place around for like miles. So his stuff is going to be on like Tuesday. So I'm kind of hanging around. I've got some traveling to do next week, but I'm hanging around so that I want to go see his stuff at this auction. Yeah. So we don't have in-person auctions like anywhere ever anymore, except down there. And I get such a rush. I love going to an in-person auction.
It was so fun. I mean, really the first in-person auction I went to, I mean, it's been, I don't know how many years ago it was now, but that's really what kick-started me into the road to eventually becoming a full-time reseller. Because before that, I was just going to yard sales and, you know, and occasionally a thrift shop, and you just can't get enough volume to do, you know, doing that. So I'll never forget the first time I went to this one auction house, and at the time, I mean, they would literally go down to $2 on stuff, and then eventually they bought in a new auctioneer who like nipped all that, and they would only go down to $5. And they would, at the end of then they did their box lights last versus first. So by the end of the night, there would be like 6 people left because it'd be 11:30 midnight. And so they would start like doing the box lights. And like, if nobody bid, they'd go, well, let's just roll another table up here and put it with it. And, you know, so I'd get like 3 whole tables of stuff for $2. And the very first time I came home with my car just completely loaded down, I was so excited. And, you know, I come in, Amy, come out here and see what all I got. And I'll just say she was not near as excited as I was. What are you gonna do with all this stuff? But that really.
Do you know what time it is?
To go into auctions. So.
Yeah, I would go with my dad when I was little. I can remember literally carrying a baby doll with me to go to an auction with him. And it was outside at a big farm and they had all the trailers out there. And he would stand up on the trailers and, he'd just shake his head. And he got really good at it. And then they would like everything left on the table. And you could get the whole thing for $1. And even today, you can go down there and get a whole table full of stuff for $1. So.
Yeah, it's like the old joke about, you scratch your nose and you bid.
Oh yeah, hands in your pockets. Yeah.
So I mean, if you were a big auction goer, so did you always have like those people that you knew if they showed up, they were going to be bidding on the same type of stuff as you did? So the first thing you walk in the door and you're like, I wonder if, so-and-so's here. And then you see them walk in, you're like, man, because your price is doubled for the night.
You can kind of size people up when they walk in. You think, oh, yeah, she's going for glass. You can see it in her face, or they walk in with their, guidebook that tells them how much all the longer burgers are going to be or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. But I think that's true. Even if you walk into a thrift store, you can walk into a thrift store and be like, that's a reseller. Yeah. Or even
you can see them a mile away.
Yeah. I would go to the Denver bins kind of a lot when we lived out there. And so they had a bunch of people that would specifically buy just like all the shoes. They would take all the shoes and then they would put them in containers and then ship them to back to the home countries, wherever that might be. And then there was the t-shirt bros. And I think they kind of wear that as a badge, I'm a t-shirt bro. They're way cooler than most people there. And then I got lumped in with they called me a Poshmark lady, which is funny because I'm not on Poshmark that much, but I guess I fit the mold for a Poshmark lady. So that made me giggle. There's groups everywhere you go.
Mm-hmm.
So I know you've touched a little bit on kind of your journey. I mean, going back to 97, but can you kind of give us the Reader's Digest version of your whole, your reselling journey from when you started and, up to now and how you got Rural Squirrel and all those kind of things?
I don't know.
Tell everybody what exactly a Rural Squirrel is. I know what it is, but
I think, so I just think, okay, there was some psychology to it. I've had it in my back pocket for a while. I haven't always been a rural squirrel, and I really don't care one way or another about squirrels. Squirrels are fine. Don't misunderstand me. I don't, no harm comes to squirrels, but I like the way it's hard to say. So it makes you say it a couple of times and then it makes you pause because it's funny. And then you say it again and then you remember it. And then because it starts with an A over on your YouTube thing, I'm going to be one of the first ones you're going to see all the time. So you can click me and you'll know when I've got a new. So there was that psychology to it. It's just fun to say. So.
Well, I tried that psychology with our podcast spelling here, kind of like a Leonard Skinner homage.
Okay.
The I's were Y's and all that. And the
nobody could find us.
It didn't work very well. So.
Yeah.
We're back to the generic.
Philly Flipper had that too, with the PH.
Right.
So you used the mentality going back to the old telephone book days when you'd have a plumber. So they'd be the first in the telephone book.
Yes, A1 plumbing. That's yes, exactly.
People are watching who are younger than us going, what's a phone book?
Phone book. Yeah, no.
Phone book.
No.
Let
that
your
was
fingers
the psychology. Yeah. So I had 4 kids, and
we do too. So
all girls.
No, we have one boy, but so
lucky. Yeah, he thought maybe we would try for more, and I said, no, you're gonna have to get a dog.
Well, it's funny you say that because we have 4, and when I say we have a boy, everybody assumes he's the youngest because the only reason you would have kids would be to have a boy, and so. When we had our first 2 girls and we had that 3rd boy, I can't tell you how many people would tell us, oh, you got your boy, now you can quit. And it would make my wife so mad. So I always tell people she got pregnant that last time just to spite all those people and had another girl. So
I appreciate her. I like that about her. But I also think that when we went from 2 to 3, it was like going from 2 to 10, in my opinion. it just felt like so much more, but you needed an even numbers, because then I had two and he had two, and it just worked out so much better. Everybody had a buddy, the buddy system. So, it helped so much better to go for, but it also, people would say, oh, you have 3 kids. That's so sweet. And then you have 4 kids and they're like, oh my gosh, you've got 4 kids. Like, it was so much more, but because I had the kids and we moved a lot with my husband's job, it made it difficult for me to have like a career where I could, advance and stay in one place for any length of time. And I needed to be flexible with their schedule so that, if we moved somewhere and we didn't have family near us, then I could be flexible. And so I worked at the schools a lot. So I would have the same schedule that they did, the same days off. I worked at Joanne Fabrics for a little while, which was super fun. I've worked at really big corporate banks and done that kind of stuff, which was not as much fun living that cubicle life. And I've owned a brick and mortar store. And I think that eBay kind of, for me, filled in some of those gaps. If they needed new sneakers, then I could do that. If they wanted to play like Palms or something, then I could give them the money to be able to do that. So it was just a little bit of fun money here and there. And then when we got out to Colorado, I would put things on and you could hear that cha-ching and the kids would be like, oh my gosh, what do we want to do? Let's go get coffee, because we had extra money. Let's go get coffee. And I'd say, oh, aren't you glad? And then they were like, yeah, we're glad. We love it that you do that. And then I started doing more because they didn't need me as much. They were in high school. And that cha-ching just kept going off. And it's like the slot machines. You want to hear that cha-ching all the time. So
it's like Pablo's dog in the light.
Yes. So I would go to the thrift stores in Colorado that were close to me, and I started branching out a little bit further, and I accidentally walked into a Ben's, a Goodwill outlet. And I think that if you walk into a Goodwill outlet, you either go, oh my gosh, absolutely not, get me out of here. Or you're like, let me at it. So that was me. I just started digging stuff, and I found one pair of shoes that sold for like $87 back in 2013. And I was like, this is it. That's it. This is what I'm doing. And so since 2013, I've been doing just this. That's it.
So there'll be no you teaching science or you being a volleyball coach, like you said in our last podcast, or anything like that, huh?
I coached volleyball for 27 years, but
okay.
This fell in between too. So when I was working at the school, I was doing that and this at the same time.
So no more volleyball coaching then.
No. My friends are still volleyball coaches, and they'll constantly be like, sure you don't want to come? You can be an assistant, or you can just come whenever you want to. No, I'll do a clinic once in a while, but no.
Every now and then, but if I've got a bin store I can get to, I'm going.
Yeah, I mean, we're gone all the time. We travel a lot. I'm going to different Ben's locations all the time, all over the country. So I think it's really hard. And I applaud all the parents that you got kids at home. You have to go do that kind of stuff. You're a coach, you're a teacher. You have to be there. But for like 3 months, 4 months out of the year, you don't do anything other than go to school, coach, come home, eat, take a bath, go to bed, do it all the next day. And I don't have to do that anymore. My kids are all grown, so I'm going to do fun things now.
Yeah. It's nice when your kids,
doing what she wants to do.
Kids are finally at the age where you don't have to. All 4 of our kids played travel sports, and so we were like, we can't even. Only 2 of us, so it was like I'd go with one, Amy would go with one, and we'd farm the other 2 off to somebody else. So
exactly.
And we were never home on the weekend, and I mean, there's parts of it you miss, I guess, but yeah, I mean, I love not having to do all that now. So
I do miss the gym. I really miss it, but I don't miss every weekend. There's a tournament every night. We have practice or a game, and it just, I love that I can do this whenever I want to, or whenever I don't want to. Like today, I was gone to Chicago. Drove on up there, spent the day with my husband, had a great day. When I got home, I got 2 things I got to ship out. So it was working while I was playing. And I like that.
I like that too. So you used to be on your own podcast, Let's Do Lunch podcast.
Yeah.
With Angie Resells. Kind of talk about that part of your reselling journey and what that meant to you and how all that came about, and post Angie Resells with Let's Do Lunch podcast. How are things going for you there? So if you could kind of take us through that.
So love Angie. She's one best friends. If I need something today, I talked to her just yesterday. You know, I talk to her all the time. We were at FlipCon, had so much fun at FlipCon, so much fun. And we love listening to all the podcasts. At the time, there was not a lot of female representation in this world. There was Trash Cash, they were there. And then there was a bunch of other guy podcasts. We called them the Beardos because it was like
the Beardos.
Everybody that is a reseller that's a guy, it feels like has beard, unless almost everybody, except us. And so we were, going to all these events and seeing all these people, and we're just love all of it. But we wanted to hear it from like another girl that is doing the same thing. So since we didn't see anything else out there other than like the consignment chats girls, love them too. But we weren't in consignment, so we wanted something for us, and so we were like, let's do this. So we kind of, created it. If it's not there, we needed to make it. So we did that for about 2 years, and then we spoke at Boss, and then some people probably already know that, but while we were at Boss, my dad passed. So we came home and we moved at the same time. And there was just a lot that we had to button up with taking care of the family stuff. And then my husband's family, there was a lot of family things that were happening. And we're like, I have to set something aside right now. And I don't want to set aside like my business. Mm-hmm. And that, while it was so much fun, I couldn't get the time to happen. And then, the end of the year came and we're like, should we do this some more? And then she had some things that were coming up that were going to be like in her life. And we were like, okay, we just need to set this down for a little while. And we've talked about, maybe we would do it. We don't know. We would never say never. We just right now, we can't find a time of day where we can both get together at the same time. So right now,
you have to change the name of it. Let's do kind of lunch, but not really. We'll do a 2 o'clock snack.
We want to say, are you available for snacks? We don't know. Yeah, but we laugh too. That's what like grown up girls. That's how we are. Do you have time just for coffee for a second? No time for coffee. Maybe on Tuesday we can do something. Maybe next Friday. So I mean, right. That's just how grown ups are, I guess. But we talk. We're on Marco Polo all the time together, and love her. She's a really good person.
Were y'all good friends before you started the podcast, Kristin? No.
Okay.
She's got a story for that too. The fangirling going on.
Yeah. So Angie had a show that she did with another guy that was like a YouTube live. So she did this YouTube live, and I love getting into the chat with everybody, and it felt like social hour. Like everybody was going out after work. That's what it felt like to me. So we I would get in there and say, "Hey, bestie, how you doing?" Just like, "Hey, gang, hey, what's up, girl?" And then I would just say, "Hey, bestie," kind of joking at first, but then the more I was in there, we really did have like great chemistry or good connection or whatever. So then when she talked on her show about how she was thinking about maybe going to FlipCon, but it's so expensive, just getting a hotel room. And I'm like, I'll room with you. And she's like, I don't know you, but I don't want to room with you. And I'm like, no, it'll be great. And I pretty much was like, you're going, I'm going, we're rooming together, and it's going to be fun. And that's what happened. And we roomed together, and it was fun. It was the first time I'd ever met her. and we shared a room together.
Wow.
Super crazy.
That sounds very similar to how our podcast came together. Wes had that Slim Flippers channel, and Johnny and I were like just his biggest fans, and we just begged him to do a podcast with us. So.
I love it.
Not hard.
Really?
No, but it is funny. None of the three of us knew each other either. I actually saw Wes was on, I think it was the Nashville Flippers or something, and Wes and I went, and Johnny jokes about this in every episode because we both grew up in Knoxville. And at least once during every episode, we wax poetic about, our youth in Knoxville. And I recognized the name, so I reached out to Wes with a message and just said, hey, are you the Wes Sperling went to Goodwill High School or something like that? And so we started talking. He had me on his show, and then you had gotten to know Johnny separately. And then we talked about this the other night. It just kind of organically happened that the three of us just did one episode of this podcast, and here we are 33, this episode 34 that you're on. And and we all three have said, hey, this is now the highlight of our week, and we just enjoy doing it. And it's just fun. We don't have any delusions of grandeur that we're ever going to get really big. That's not why we do it. And, if it ever happens, then hey, if we ever get those 17-cent checks that Popeye's talked about, that'd be great. But if not, who cares? Yeah.
So. You don't make money on YouTube. This is completely about having fun. Documenting your journey or whatever. It's for me. This is about fun. This is just fun. And I think that there's a lot of people in my life that are like, I gotta go to work. Oh, yeah, it's a means to an end. Yeah, but does it have to be? Why shouldn't you, they say do what you love and then you don't have to work, whatever. If you like to teach. If you enjoy banking, do that. But I like digging through trash and junk. I like it.
Well, for me, these podcasts are like a master class because the people and the relationships that we build and we think people we talk to, I have learned so much just sitting here listening to people. Mm-hmm. And I immediately go out that next weekend, to estate sales, yard sales. I'm picking up, postcards now.
My gosh.
Something I never even would have thought of to do.
Yeah, I learned so much, but it's just listening to all the podcasts, all the people that are on YouTube now just has been really eye-opening for me. You've done it for so long that you just get in kind of a rut, but then whenever you pick up little nuggets here and there from somebody else, and then you find that nugget out in the world, you're like, oh my gosh, it's affecting your life, and it's great. Mm-hmm.
It is great. But Kristin, you were talking about when she got off the airplane, you just knew you all clicked, immediately. And that's kind of like what's happened with Johnny and Stewart and me. We all three just, birds of a feather, I guess, flock together. I'm not sure.
Have you met in real life, all of you?
Stewart and I have, yes, because we live like you said. Though. Stewart and I live probably 25 minutes away from each other.
So how far away is Johnny from you guys?
He's in Greensboro, so he's 6 hours or so.
Yeah.
But what's funny is that we had the consignment chat ladies on, and Johnny and Molly figured out that they're neighbors, so they ran into each other at a yard sale last week.
Yep.
That's awesome. That's awesome. You guys should meet halfway. That's only 3 hours.
Well, the plan is at our 500 subscriber live, we're going to do it in Knoxville. And then at our 1,000 subscriber live, we're actually going to do it in Greensboro, maybe at Molly's house. So,
that's awesome. You guys should go to the Nashville meetup. I think they're going to do that again in the spring, which would be super cool. Yeah.
I'll try to go this year. Or this time. I was going to go last time, but I ended up, I can't remember what came up. Something came up and I couldn't go. So,
well, we had a good time. I'm looking forward to it. I'll go again. So
you're coming back in the spring then
to Nashville.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if they do that again, I'll do that. I'll go again. It's not that far of a drive.
Now, where do you live?
It's not far for us either.
I live in central Illinois now.
Okay.
Yeah, we grew up here. Our families are here. But his job took us to Colorado. So we got to spend 15 years out there, and it was really fun.
So that's where you were when I talked to you the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. What episode are you guys on?
What's that? Episode 30. This will be episode 34. So.
Ooh, I like an even number.
Yeah, we're doing even numbers. Episode 34. So, Kristin, do you have your coffee tonight?
No, I have water.
Oh,
just water.
Oh, wait a minute now. Hold that up. Is that got a Rural Squirrel on the front of it?
Yeah, I got a sticker on it.
Oh, okay.
Yep. You can get that on my Whatnot. They're available.
So are you doing Whatnot? You still do Whatnot shows regularly, Kristin?
Yeah.
How's Whatnot been for you? Is it still doing well?
I like it. It's fun. And I think that the more consistent you are, the better it gets. And just like with anything, whether it's YouTube or, selling of any kind, if you consistently list stuff, then you consistently sell stuff. So yeah, it takes a little while to build it up. That's a thing. And then I have been inconsistent because I've been on it for like 2 years, but only probably the last 6 months have I given it any attention.
Yeah.
So it's doing good. It's doing good.
I mean, I used to do Whatnot shows really regular, and I pretty much stayed in the ephemera category for the most part. And, but I just found that for the amount of time I was spending getting ready for a weekly show, I mean, I was better served to be spending time like listing on other platforms. So really now I do like a show every month as part of one of the special events like Paper Palooza or Ephemerometer, one of those events that takes place. And because I do enjoy it a lot, but it's just, I was spending so much time and it was really taken away from, the higher profit margin stuff. And I've also seen, and I know like some of our other people who've been on the show who are bigger time Whatnot sellers have also talked about just the number of people coming in as sellers that Whatnot's kind of opened the floodgates. I mean, it's really diluted the shows, and
there's a lot more buyers now than when I first started. When we first started, it was, everybody that we knew as sellers were in the shows, and you can get a lot of inventory that way, but it's not at that point anymore. There's more people on, at least in my shows, that are buyers than there are like other sellers, unless they're trying to get a bargain.
What category are you selling in primarily? Is it clothing or? So
I've done a couple clothing shows, but I've had to pivot a little bit since we've moved, because when we were in Colorado, I had the Denver bins and they were phenomenal. I mean, I pulled out fabulous clothes all the time. And I primarily sourced that because I could get it and in volume and it was cheap. But I don't have that same source here. So I pick different things. I've sold in clothing, but I've been picking up like a lot of primitives or like rusty gold kind of stuff, or some glass if I find it, but not very often. Just like wears, cute knick-knacky stuff, and plush. I don't know a lot about plush, but I have access to it. So what I've been doing recently is I'll have a plush show, and so I get to do it from the bins. I'm really lucky that they are tolerant of me being in there live, and I just dig through and sell the plush, and it's reasonably priced, so I'm able to do it. If I have access, you got to sell what you have access to, and I can't get Gucci's every day anymore. So, but I can get plush every day. So that's what I'm selling. You just have to, I think, and we've done this before. We've lived here. We've lived in Omaha. We lived in central Missouri. We've lived in Colorado. We've lived lots of different places. And everywhere you go, the sourcing is different. And even when we travel, I know that some locations you'll go in, there's no shoes. my favorite. So you pick up other things and you learn more. Your Rolodex, if anybody knows what that is anymore, of what you can pick up and know about gets bigger and broader. And then you spot little diamonds in the rough everywhere you go after that. So it's helped to have to pivot, but I really do miss being able to pick up like outstanding clothes all the time. So
you miss your Denver Goodwill bins, I can tell for sure.
Ooh, oh my gosh. And whenever we have to go back, I mean, it doesn't kill me. I'm not mad about it. So I do get a chance to spend a day at the bins whenever I
load the vehicle up and drive it back.
Yeah,
well, I've been shipping like like another suitcase. I can usually just check another bag. So I load up a suitcase and check it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I like it. Well, Kristin, one of the last things I want to discuss with you is where you have taken your voiceover talents to. Have you expounded on it any at all? Because I know we talked about it on my last show.
No.
I don't know if Stuart Franklin over there knows about your angst to want to be a voiceover person. If you could,
I think it would be fun. I mean, people tell me I'm animated when I speak anyway, so it probably would work, but I haven't. No. I take it to what? Well, yes, I take it to Whatnot.
There you go. That's where I'm taking this. You could actually do it on Whatnot, see?
Yeah, I probably won't do that. Although we did have a costume contest the other day, so I mean, but I didn't change my voice or anything for it. That's really funny. No.
Oh, okay.
No, now that's a challenge, though. Maybe
it is a challenge, isn't it? I want to hear it on Whatnot. I want to hear you on Whatnot. Yeah. I'm laying that down for you to. I want you to pull that one out because Stuart on my show she did do a voice. I don't know if you remember that or not.
Oh yeah, no, it won't happen again. No,
it won't happen again. It's okay. No. I can drop that in here on the video. So
insert here. Yeah. No.
You don't need to do it again. I've got it already.
Today. Don't know if I can do it.
There you go, Wes. There you go. Now you know where to put it.
Yeah, I can put it right there. Kristin's like, you better not.
Ooh.
Do you have any social media sites? Anything else you want to tell us about?
Completely off of social media.
Okay, so
I'm on TikTok. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. I'm on YouTube.
And it's all under a Rural Squirrel, right? So
all of it is a Rural Squirrel. Yeah. And on Whatnot. So it makes it easy and consistent across all the platforms. And I try to stay active on there. I'm more in my Instagram stories than I am in the posts. So I'm probably on Instagram stories at least once a day. I'll post something. So, and then I'm trying to get more consistent. This last year has been a lot with the family stuff. So I haven't been as consistent with my putting out videos, but I just put one out a couple days ago, so I'll have another one coming up here pretty quick.
Yeah, we'll have to have Kristin back on to talk about branding because you've obviously done a really good job with the branding, and we touched on it a little bit, but we could probably do a whole show just on branding
for sure.
So
yeah, that's been fun.
So, Kristin, would you be willing to come back and join us at some point?
Oh yeah. Me talk? Sure.
Not a problem. As long as we figure out Eastern time, Central time, Mountain time, whatever.
Yeah.
This one's on me tonight, so I apologize to you for that.
Not my fault today.
On me. I take it. Well, that is all the time that we have this evening tonight with Kristin, a Rural Squirrel. Again, thank you so much for joining us here on the Finders Flippers Resell Podcast. We appreciate you so much.
I appreciate you having me. Thank you. This was fun.
Have a great evening.
Bye.